Hi everyone. I'm going to show you a fun and simple activity that you can do in Scratch. Scratch is a coding program that some of our students have used before. It's free to access on the internet, and I will show you where to find it now. So you can go to Google. We're just going to search for Scratch. And it's this one up here. It's part of the MIT. So we're going to click. Okay, and this takes us to the home screen. Now you can join if you want to, or sign in if you know your details, but you don't have to. You can click Start Creating here, and that will take you straight to the program. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, and this is the Scratch screen. This is where you work, and this window here shows you what is happening with what you've coded. So we're going to close this tutorial. Okay, and we're going to do an activity based around animating letters. Okay, and eventually we're going to be able to animate our name. Okay, so the first thing we need to do, I'm afraid, is to get rid of the cat, because we don't need him. So we're going to come down here and we're going to click the dustbin, and the cat is gone. Okay, and what we want to do first is we're going to have a look at how we can change the color of a letter by clicking on it. Okay, so we're going to choose a letter from the sprites, which is this button down here. It says choose a sprite, and we're going to click the search, and we're going to click on letters, and we'll use A. Okay, and here he is. And then we'll choose a nice backdrop, okay, to fill in this background. So we're going to come down to here, choose a backdrop, click choose, and let's have somewhere nice. Let's do the beach. Okay, so we've got our letter A. We can put him wherever we want by picking him up and dragging him around. So let's put him there. Okay, and then we are ready to start coding. So first piece of code we need is in the events, this sort of yellowy orange. Okay, and we want the letter to change color when we click on it. So we need this tab. It says when this sprite is clicked. Okay, and what that tells the program is that whenever we click this, it needs to do whatever we put underneath it here. So we want to change the color. So we need to go in the looks tab, and if we scroll down, we can find this one here, and we can change the color effect by 25. So if we pop this underneath and then we click on our letter, it changes color. Okay, and that will cycle through all the different colors every time you click on it, because this piece of code here is telling the program when we click the sprite, change its color by 25. And we can see it working there. Okay, so what we're going to look at now is how to spin a letter when we click on it. So again, we're going to search for a sprite. We're going to go to letters. Let's use B this time. Let's pop them in the middle. Okay, so again, to start with, we want the yellow tab, and we want when we click this sprite. So we're going to take that one and pop it on the workspace. Okay, now this time we are going to, well, let's try first. We'll go into motion, because when something spins, it's moving and we want it to turn. So let's just put that under there first, and when we click, we can see the letter spinning every time we click on it, a small bit every time. Now, if we wanted to spin more every time we click on it, we can change this. So let's put that to 45 and enter. And now when we click, you can see it spins a bit further when we click. And obviously, if we want it to spin less when we click on it, we can put a smaller number in. So let's put 5, enter. And when we click, it does a very small spin. Okay. So we can click him all the way around, and he's moving a very small, he's spinning a very small amount each time we click until he's all the way around and he's the right way up again. Okay. And what we can do here as well is, so we don't have to click lots and lots of times ourselves and our fingers get tired, we can use something in the orange section, control, called a repeat block. So we put that under there, we get our motion, turn 15 degrees. And now when we click on it once, it will turn 10 times without us having to keep clicking. Okay, so look, much easier. Okay, and if we want to get our letter the right way up again, we can have one of these. And we don't have to put it under the coding, but we can just click it up there, look, and it sets it the right way up. So we spin it with that one, and we pop it the right way up with that one. Point in direction 90. Okay. Another thing we can do is have the letter play a sound when we click on it. So again, we'll get rid of B and choose a new sprite. We'll go for C, surprise, surprise. Pop them in the middle of the screen. And we're going to keep the same backdrop because we're going to use a sound. So we have the sounds tab up here. We click on sounds. We don't want meow because we've got rid of the cat. So if we look down here, same as we've been choosing the sprites in the backdrop, we can come down to the sound button, click the search, and we can find ourselves a nice noise. Let's try wacky, and let's do, okay, we'll go for squeaky toy. So we've chosen a sound. Now we need to put it into our code. So we're going to come across here to the code tab, click on that one. And again, we want it to happen when we click on the sprite. So we go to events, when this sprite is clicked, and then sound is this purple button. We want it to play the sound that we chose, squeaky toy, until it's done. And now when we click on the letter, we get the nice noise. Right, so the next thing we're going to have a look at is making a letter dance. So we are going to choose a new backdrop for this. Let's have a look somewhere where we might want to dance. Here we go, nice looking disco. And we're going to choose a letter. I think we're up to D. So choose D for dance. Let's put him on the stage. Okay, and then we need to come down here and add what we call an extension. And we want the music blocks. Okay, so we've got some music now that we can put in, and we need to add our code. So again, it's going to happen when we click on the sprite. So we come back over here and we go to our yellow. When this sprite is clicked, we want him to move, which is in motion, so move 10 steps, play a bit of music, so we're going to play a drum, and we want him to move again, but we want him to move in the opposite direction. So let me just show you. So at the minute when we click on him with move 10, he goes that way. Okay, if we want him to go back in the opposite direction, we need to put minus before the number and then put the same number in so he goes back to where he started. Okay, and then that happens. Look. So we'll put the drum in there, then he'll move back to where he started, and then we want him to play the music again. So we'll start with the drum. And he moves back and forward, and we could always choose a different drum. Bass drum's not very good. We could have a snare and a hi-hat. That might make a nice noise. Okay, and there's lots to choose from. I like cowbells. Let's have cowbells. Okay, so you can have a play around with the instruments. If you want him to move further, you can make this number bigger. Remember your minus sign if you want him to go back to where he started. Okay, and that's how we can animate our letters. So the next thing we're going to have a look at is changing the size of our letter. I'm going to choose a different backdrop. Let's just have this nice blue. We need a new sprite. We're up to the letter E. Pop them in the middle. And again, this is going to happen when we click on the sprite. So we start with the same yellow tab at the top. And to start with, we go to looks and we want to change the size. So let's pop that in there. We click on him, he gets a little bit bigger. And again, if we want him to go back to the size that we started with, we just put a minus in front, click him again, and he goes back to where we started. If we want him to grow more, we put a bigger number in and we click and he grows. Okay. Put the minus in and the same number and click on him again, and he'll go back to the size that we started with. Okay. So what we can do is we can make him grow. And then I'm going to take these out. We're going to use our repeat block again, so we don't have to keep clicking. So we'll put a repeat in there, and we'll do this 15 times. We'll go back to our looks. Find change size, we're going to put that in there. So when I click on him now, he grows. Okay, and then if we want him to go back to normal again, we'll just put that to -10. Click on him again, and he shrinks. Okay, and then what we can do is using another repeat block underneath, set that to 15 as well. Oops, 15, and then back into looks, change the size by 10, pop that in there. When we click on the letter, He grows really big. We'll get him back to normal again. Because what I actually meant to do was have him grow and then shrink. So we need one that says 10 and one that says -10. And now when we click on him, he'll do what I thought he was going to do, which is grow and shrink. And we have this handy button that you can drag onto here and it will reset him back to his original size. If you end up with him too big, you just click that and he'll go back to normal. I will share the programming cards for these if you're struggling to keep up. I'm aware I might be going a bit quick, but you can have a watch of this video first, see if you like the look of any of the activities, but I will share the coding cards onto the different school pages, and I'll make a post directing you to where they are. Okay, so now we are going to look at how we can make the letter change when we press a key. So we'll get rid of him and finish with the letter E. I'm going to let's choose a different backdrop so we don't get bored. Let's use the street, the wall. I'm going to choose a letter. I think we're up to F. Back into letters, F. Let's pop him right in the middle where we can see him. Okay, now previously we've been making things happen when we click on the sprite. Now we want it to happen when we press a key on the keyboard. So we still go into our yellow space, and as you can see it says when key pressed, and it says the space key. So let's take that and put that there. Okay, so that means that when we press the space key, the program will tell the letter to do whatever coding we put underneath here. So we want it to turn when we press a key. I'm going to go to motion, which makes it move. I'm going to choose the turn, so many degrees, tab, and we're going to change that to 90. Okay, and when we push space, he turns. Okay, and if we want, again, if we want him to change where he's spinning faster, we can change that. Okay, I'm going to pop it back to 90 for now. Oh, no, that's a lot. I don't want that. 90. And what we can also do is go back to something that we did earlier. We can go into looks and change color. And now when we press the space key, it will turn and change color at the same time. So before, when we were doing it with a click, we could only move him or change his color. We had to have a different bit of code for each. Now when we press the space key, we've told the program to do both at the same time. Okay. And you can always choose a different key if you like. I like the space bar because it's big. You can choose any of these. You can, again, like I said, you can change these numbers, have a play around and see what happens. Okay, now we are going to look at making our letters glide. So we're finished with F. We're going to have a nice new background. We go to the desert. Now we are onto the letter G. Take the G, pop them in the middle of the desert. Okay. Now We're going to go back to when we click on the sprite to make things happen. So we go to our yellow and we get our old friend when this sprite clicked. Okay, and we're going to go to motion because it involves moving. And as you can see, we have these two pieces of code here that say glide. So let's try this one first. Okay, so what we can do with here is it's going to glide to a random position. We're going to try that to start with. And when we click it, off it goes. And this number in here in seconds is how long it takes it to glide to wherever it chooses the random position. Okay, and you can always pick it up and move it back. You separate the code so you can click on them again and move them back to the middle. Put the code back together when you click it. It randomly picks a position on the screen and takes 1 second to glide there. Okay, which is great, but we have no way of controlling where it's going, and we maybe don't want it to go off the screen like that. So let's break the code down, pop him back in the middle, get rid of that, we don't want that one. Okay, if we want to choose where he goes, we use this one underneath, and we can put different numbers in here. So as we move, sorry, I need to break my code. As we move the G around, we can look in these boxes. One says X and one says Y, and they are called coordinates. And the X number tells us where the letter is on this left to right line, this horizontal line on the screen. Okay, it's similar to a map. So if we put him here, look, it goes to -209. We put him in the middle-ish, somewhere around there will be 0. Okay, I can't find 0. Typical. Okay, but, and if we move to the other end, it's 199. And then the Y over here tells us how high or low on the screen the G is sitting. So if we put him up there, it's 144. Put him down here, it's -134. So we can choose how far to the left or the right we want him. And if we want him on the left, we put a minus number in. And if we want him to go down, we put a minus number in. And now when we click on him, he goes there. If we want him to go right, we take the minus out and just have a proper positive number. And if we want him to go up, we do the same. So we click that and it should go back to where it was. Okay. And you can put more of these in and change the numbers. Now we click on him. Okay, he was already in that spot, so let's click that again. He'll glide up to there and back down to there. Let's drag him. And we can keep going. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong one. Gliding. We'll change this number again. We'll go for a minus in here. And a plus in there. And when we click on him now, he glides there, back down to there, and then over there. And that's how we can make our sprite move. Okay. Now, let's get rid of our G. I'm going to set a new backdrop. Let's have this nice space one. Okay, and I'm going to add the first letter of my name, which is O. I want him to be there. I'm going to add the next letter of my name. There. We're going to put together some of the things that we've looked at already. Space that out a bit better. Okay, so the first one we want to work on is the O, and I think I want everything to happen when I push the space bar because I prefer that. So we're going to put when space key pressed instead of when we click the mouse. And the first thing we looked at today was changing the color. So I'm going to go to looks and I'm going to say change color effect by 25, and I maybe want it to spin whilst we do that. So we're going to get our repeat because we don't want to have to keep pushing the space bar. We're going to have it repeat. In fact, I think let's use forever and have it spinning round and round and round and round and round. And then we go into our motion and get our turn. Okay, and then when we push the space key, it turns green and it spins. Okay, tell it to stop. And then remember we've got pointing direction to get it the right way up. And in fact what I'm going to do is I'm going to get another forever block because I would quite like it to keep changing colours as it's spinning, and forever tells the program to make things happen forever. So if we put those two together, both when the space key is pressed, press the space bar and you can see the O is spinning and changing colour forever and ever and ever. It's pointing the right way up. Okay, so let's think of what we might want the W to do. I think maybe we're going to have the W play a sound. So let's click on the W. We're going to use the space bar. We're going to go to our sounds. Now I'm going to choose another new sound. So I come down here, choose a sound, back into wacky, I think. Let's have that one, the honk. Back into the code. And we want it to keep happening, which is going to probably be quite annoying. Into sounds. Okay. We probably want the W to move because it looks a bit boring sat there, so we'll get another space key as pressed. And we will make him dance like we did with the other letter, but I want him to dance without playing a sound because he's already playing a sound. So we will have 10 steps, 10 steps. I'm going to change that to 20 and change that to -20. And now when we press the space bar, sorry, when we push the space bar, so what I need to do, because that's happening at the same time, we're not seeing it moving. So we're going to go into control, and we're going to tell it to wait in between for 1 second. Okay, and now, fingers crossed, moves. But we want that to happen forever, or it will only happen once. So we get our forever loop. And we pop everything inside it, which I haven't done very well. Let's get everything back together and pop it in the forever loop. And now when we push space, okay, that's happening really quickly. So we need to just put another weight block in. So we'll get our weight block here. Oh, no, we won't. We'll get our weight block and we'll pop it under here. Now, W dances around. Okay, so we're going to move on to the E. I think the E, I'm going to have, so what should we do with the E? Let's have the E get bigger and smaller. So again, we want that to happen when we click the space bar. So we go to events when space key is pressed. Okay, we're going to use our repeat so we don't have to keep pushing the space bar. So we're going to say repeat. And we want to change how it looks. So we're going to change the size. And then when we want it to shrink again, we do the same thing underneath. But remember, we put the minus sign in. And I think we want it to be maybe a bit more than 10. So let's go for 30. Sorry, we don't want the minus there. 30 to make it grow. Minus 30 to make it shrink. Give it a test. And again, that's only done it once. So if we want that to keep happening, we need to use our forever loop. So we make sure everything is in the forever loop. So I'll show you what I did again there. So I've picked up my forever loop from control and I've grabbed the top repeat block to disconnect it and I've put it inside the loop here, which then tells the program that it wants it to carry on forever. And now when we hit the space bar, it keeps going. Let's put the O back in the right way up. And finally the N. We're going to make the N glide. Okay, so again, when we push the space bar, we're going to make it glide, so that's motion. We're going to make it glide 1 second to 173. So we're looking down here, look, remember that tells us where it is on the screen, so we're going to put 173 in the X box, 111 in the Y box. Okay, and then I want it to wait when it's there, and then I want it to glide back to where it started. So it's going to glide for 1 second back to there. And when we push the space key, stop it. Now I think we could do with the other letters changing colour as well, because they look a bit boring. So we're going to come back into here, and we can just add the colour, the coding in the change in the color by 25, so we can just grab that from here and we can make that happen where it's playing its sound on the W, on the E. We can pop it in there, and on the N we'll pop a little loop in. Change colour. The space bar is pressed on here. Now hopefully when we hit the space bar, we've got a nice animating name. Okay, so I will share the cards. All of the different parts of this activity are on cards that you can download from the Scratch website, but I will pop them onto the Facebook for you. You can try them at your own pace. The best thing about Scratch is that you can just try things out. You can put things in, see what happens. If it doesn't work, take it out. There's lots of fun activities on there, but if this works well, then I'm happy to go through another lesson with you. Please give me some feedback. Tell me if I need to go a bit slower. As I say, you can maybe watch this video and get an idea of what it is you're going to be doing. See if it's something you like the look of. Download the cards that I'll post on the Facebook page and give it a go yourself. Okay guys, hope you enjoy. See you soon.